featuring James Mason and Paul Lucas. And we started the set with Cozy Pal doing Squadron 633. Welcome back to God Rock Radio. I'm Jack the Agnostic Garcia. And on today's program, we've been examining the mind, the world, the vision of the granddaddy of science fiction, Jules Verne. We left off closely examining his main body of life and work. And now we're going to get into the film adaptations of Jules Verne's work. I can't get into them all. There's over 250 movies based on Jules Verne's novels and stories. He is, in fact, probably the most adapted author in the cinematic world. I can't think of any, with the possible exception of Bram Stoker's Dracula, which is probably the most filmed novel ever. There's over 200 adaptations of Dracula alone. Well, Mr. Verne, if not leading the pack, is certainly a close second. All right, now, of course, George Méliès, the cinematic conjurer, this innovator, who pioneers many techniques on which all subsequent sci-fi and fantasy films are based, is connected to Mr. Jules Verne. Méliès was unique, a true original. He's the first artist of the movies, and, his work features a natural visual sense. Méliès has a catalog of wonders. A joyful wickedness is involved in his movies. There's trick photography, stage effects, imaginative set designs, and witty script and direction. He's the first truly creative filmmaker. Méliès loves spectacle and magic, and his subjects are science fiction, fantasy, and occasionally horror. Méliès was involved in all aspects of his movies, in the scenario, the design, the effects, and the direction. Now, George Méliès is not only inspired by the works of Jules Verne, he virtually merges into Jules Verne. He becomes the Jules Verne of cinema. The primary example being Le Voyage dans la Lune, or A Trip to the Moon. This is 1902. Now, Verne is still alive when this movie's made, and he loves the film. He loves George Méliès. Now, A Trip to the Moon has become something of a legend. It's the first production over 20 minutes long, when most movies are 5 minutes. The film features elaborate sets, models, double exposures. There's a great collection of effects. And A Trip to the Moon is essentially the first sci-fi film / space opera. It's a timeless, fantastical journey. Who can ever forget that rocket in the eye of the man of the moon? Now, Méliès uses Verne's moonshot. The ship, the craft, is fired from a cannon, but he infuses a few ideas of his own, for good measure. For example, the Moon Men and the Moon Maidens come from Méliès' imagination. Now, Méliès also makes a version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. This is in 1907. The film is in the context of a dream. It mixes fantasy and scientific speculation. There's fairies with submarines. There's nymphs. There's mermaids. There's giant seashell designs. And the film owes much to the illustrations of Alphonse de Neuville, who worked on Verne's novels. Now, there's a previous version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea from 1905. It's very mysterious Biograph production, because the film doesn't appear in the Biograph records, and we only have a few seconds, a fragment that still exists. There's also a 1916 version of 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea, directed by Stuart Patton. This was for Universal. That features incredible underwater photography in a specially built tank. Unique cameras are developed for the film. It's actually quite a startling movie. This film is available. It's almost 2 hours long, and there's some really, really great scenes in the movie. It's out there. You can get it, and it is occasionally shown in the middle of the night on Turner Classic Movies. Now, there's a truly amazing version of Mysterious Island from MGM in 1929. This version of Mysterious Island featured 3 directors, Lucien Hubbard, Maurice Tourneur, and the great Benjamin Christensen. The film is essentially a silent movie with a few sound segments. This is 1929, and Hollywood is shifting from silent cinema to sound at this point in time. So in 1929, 1928, it's not unusual to have a silent film with a number of talking sequences. Now, Mysterious Island features Lionel Barrymore in one of his wackiest, greatest, crazed performances as Count Dakar, which is essentially Captain Nemo. Now, for those of you who don't know, Mysterious Island is the sequel to 20,000 Leagues Under the Sea. Dakar, or / Nemo, builds a submersible / submarine in order to prove the existence of half-men, half-fish creatures living at the bottom of the sea. Now, this movie took 3 years to make and features great special effects and sets and costumes. There's a Russian version of Mysterious Island called Tanstarani Ostrovo. This is from 1941. It features a very